tonight. Dangerous overcrowding at one of London's biggest stations. Rail bosses are carrying out an urgent safety review after this rush hour crush that's being blamed on a new timetable.
Passengers were falling over each other, staff were doing nothing.
I was really scared, and for a good half hour afterwards my legs just wouldn't stop shaking.
Also on the programme, tackling toxic air. Hackney Council says they'll ban cars from 75% of their roads. Plus,
it's the best thing that's ever happened to me, ever. I can't thank the NHS enough, I can't thank the doctors enough.
The medical breakthrough, which is a lifeline for patients with aggressive blood cancers. And
shall we dance?
1, 2, 3, and
on a bright cloud of music shall we fly?
a new take on an old classic. The King and I returns to the capital. Good evening. Rail bosses are carrying out an urgent safety review tonight after overcrowding at London Bridge left passengers fearing they would be crushed. Hundreds of people were crammed onto packed trains, escalators and platforms during rush hour. Politicians and passengers alike say South Eastern's new slimmed-down timetable is to blame. This afternoon, the company apologised, admitting it was unacceptable, but the local MP says the constant chaos has to stop. Our political correspondent Simon Harris has more.
It was the moment rush hour became a crush hour, and for commuters caught up in the overcrowding at London Bridge, it was unnerving and scary. Trains came to a standstill after a passenger fell onto the track at Hither Green in south-east London. Vanessa, a college lecturer on her way home to Tunbridge, was trapped at the top of an escalator.
People started shouting, move, move, and trying to push forwards because they were frightened. And I could see the feet just by my head above me trying to scrabble as the escalator was moving, and they couldn't do anything. So I started running backwards to try and avoid falling down.
Passengers were falling over each other, staff were doing nothing. A passenger had to hit the emergency stop button on an escalator to prevent people being crushed.
I was really scared, and for a good half hour afterwards my legs just wouldn't stop shaking.
The logjam of commuters lasted for 45 minutes.
You're very lucky no one got seriously injured, aren't you?
Well, the implementation of the crowd control measures are plans to make sure that people are safe. Restricting access to the platforms is, part of our standard procedures to make sure that the platforms do not become overcrowded.
Why one of central London's main commuter stations couldn't cope with sudden disruption to services is now the subject of a heated debate.
The train company South Eastern says London Bridge has suddenly become more crowded during the evening rush hour for no obvious reason other than changing travel patterns. In the last few weeks, the number of passengers passing through the station between 5 and 6:30 has jumped from 20,000 to nearer 30,000. But many commuters believe recent timetable changes and cuts to services are to blame. On Twitter, Suzanne said, hundreds of passengers in a crush at London Bridge due to the changes you introduced with no consultation in December. Phoebe asked South Eastern, remind me again how your new timetable is so much better. Never once experienced this under the old system, where passengers were split between London Bridge and Cannon Street. And Ros observed, not only are 90% of my trains late, the platforms are becoming increasingly dangerous.
They told me and my constituents that this wouldn't happen, and that and it has, and they said that it would improve the service, and it hasn't. We've had constant chaos since the new timetable came in December.
Tonight, Network Rail and South Eastern said they were carrying out a safety review. Tellingly, perhaps, South Eastern will run more rush hour trains from Monday. Simon Harris, ITV News, London Bridge.
Nobody will be prosecuted over a dog attack in Caterham. A 28-year-old woman died after she was attacked while walking a number of dogs at Gravelly Hill. Surrey police say the 8 dogs involved will continue to be cared for at a private kennels while forensic tests are carried out, but they have confirmed that none of them are banned breeds. A man has been charged with assaulting former Health Secretary Matt Hancock on the Underground. 61-year-old Giza Tarjanyi will appear in court next month, accused of 2 public order offences against the MP, one at Westminster Station on Tuesday morning and another the week before on Parliament Street. And Sadiq Khan could be forced to more than double the amount of money he makes available for a scrappage scheme ahead of his planned expansion of the ultra-low emission zone. The mayor's budget included a pot of £110 million for small businesses, charities and less well-off Londoners. But at a meeting at City Hall today, the London Assembly voted to increase that sum by £125 million. Hackney Council have unveiled plans to ban cars from most of their roads in what they're calling the UK's most ambitious plan to tackle toxic air. Over the next 3 years, lower traffic neighbourhoods and safer school streets will be expanded to cover 3/4 of the borough in an attempt to build a greener, healthier Hackney. But many residents say the scheme actually makes problems with traffic and pollution on the roads worse and living in the area a misery. Sam Holder has more.
Traffic restrictions on a scale London has never seen before. Under new plans, drivers will only be allowed on 1/4 of Hackney's roads. Low traffic neighbourhoods, or LTNs, are designed to cut air pollution and encourage public transport, cycling and walking. The announcement has left the council on a collision course with those who feel they need to drive.
As a courier, and for all couriers that serving the public, it's terror, mate. It's not right. When we are paying for the roads, we are paying for the insurance, we are paying for the tax, we are paying for everything.
I think it's disgraceful as it goes. How are you supposed to earn a living?
It's too much. I got a job to do. I need to be able to get around.
LTNs sprung up in Hackney during the pandemic. Planters and bollards physically blocking roads. Others monitored by cameras. Blue badge holders, bin lorries and emergency vehicles are exempt. 50% of the total area of Hackney is already covered by low traffic neighbourhoods. The council are hoping to implement them in these areas imminently and put more in over the next 3 years. Critics fear that the closures will force traffic into residential streets, leading to a massive increase in pollution for people living on them. Niall is a campaigner against the restrictions.
Well, say if you live behind us in, I think it's Orwell Court, is it? George Orwell Court, and you wanted to get to the other side of the bridge, you'd have to take a route of about a mile.
How long would that take?
It could take anything from about 7 or 8 minutes to about half an hour.
So you don't actually have a car?
No.
But you feel strongly enough that you want to campaign?
Yeah, well, I think the reason that got me is that I cared for my mother for 10 years and having a car allowed me to do that, to get around.
The council say that cars from outside the borough make up 40% of traffic in Hackney.
Through the sat-nav apps, a lot of roads like this have actually become accessible to traffic that wasn't designed for that level of traffic. And what we're seeking to do is actually make life much more better for people who live on the estates that in this LTN zone.
Do you feel you actually have a mandate for that?
Well, I do think we have a mandate for rolling out low traffic neighbourhoods. I'm elected on a manifesto which committed to the most ambitious climate agenda in London to reduce traffic significantly. And, you know, we came with an overwhelming majority, and that's what the people of Hackney want and voted for.
The council say LTNs do lead to less nitrogen dioxide in the air. It seems there'll be no way round them for drivers. Sam Holder, ITV News.
Next, to a medical breakthrough that uses a patient's own immune system to fight their cancer. CAR-T therapy is the first treatment of its kind to be signed off for routine use on the NHS and will be given as a one-off infusion to people with aggressive blood cancer. Trials show it helps them live longer. Daniel Henry's been to King's College Hospital to find out more.
Cancer changes everything.
Being diagnosed is probably the worst thing about it all, I think. It's like the whole world comes down on top of you, sort of thing. You think you're in a dark place.
When Chris was diagnosed with lymphoma, he didn't know what to do. Until doctors said he could take a chance on a new treatment called CAR-T therapy.
In my mind, I just told myself everything was going to be all right. New treatment, get it in you, get it done. And yeah, it's just flown out. I've flown out the other end. I'm smiling, I'm breathing and I'm happy, so yeah.
CAR-T therapy harnesses the power of a patient's own immune system to fight their cancer.
So you were saying that this is game-changing?
Absolutely.
King's College Hospital was the first in the UK to offer it to adults with Chris's condition.
We give this treatment to people for whom chemotherapy has failed. So it involves first collecting patient cells on a machine, And these cells are genetically modified to make them attack a marker on a cancer cell. It's very gratifying because when we see people come to us, they're quite sick, and we see very, very rapid clinical responses, often within days.
Chris was one of just over 300 people who received treatment between 2018 and 2021. Nearly half of people who received treatment were alive after 3 years, compared to a survival rate of just over 6 months for people receiving chemotherapy.
So Chris's cells would have been stored somewhere like this, where it's nearly -200 in there. And eventually, when Chris needed the cells, they would have been thawed, available for him to use. And now, since having the treatment, Chris is much, much better.
It's changed your life?
It's massively changed my life. It's the best thing that's ever happened to me, ever. I can't thank the NHS enough. I can't thank the doctors enough. We've got a baby on the way during June. Yeah, and it's a miracle baby to me, so I didn't think I could have kids or anything, so yeah, look at this smile. It's yeah, can't wipe that off my face.
The NHS will now recommend CAR-T therapy as standard for other patients with aggressive forms of lymphoma.
Let's do this.
Something else for Chris and his growing family to shout about. Daniel Henry, ITV News.
Still to come on the programme, the train driver from Finchley who forged the way for women. Karen Harrison is being honoured at Euston Station, and
everybody just has to give me a wide berth because I'm as big as a house.
Sally's been getting to know Call the Midwife star Helen George as she transforms for the King and I. On to sport now, and Anthony Yarde's preparing for his toughest challenge yet.
Zero Accounting Software sponsors ITV Regional Sports Report.
There are 4 major belts in boxing, and on Saturday night, Anthony Yarde will be fighting for 3 of them. The Beast from the East will be in the ring against Russian Artur Beterbiev at Wembley Arena and is confident this is his chance to achieve unified status. He sat down to speak to Anton Allen.
Is this the look of the capital's next world champion?
Here is Anthony, the Beast from the East, Yarde!
East London boxer Anthony Yarde is confident he knows the answer.
There's a reason I'm so excited for Saturday. There's definitely a reason.
What's that reason?
I feel like my hand's going to be raised and I'm going to hit under new. It's going to be unified, 3 belts strapped up around me. What a story.
Saturday night at the Wembley Arena, the man nicknamed the Beast from the East, for the 2nd time in his career, will try to become world light heavyweight champion.
Unified. Got a different ring to it. I've always known, I've always had that belief from when I started, and that belief has never wavered, like, at no time. And I feel like it's all led to this moment. So the fact I'm here, I'm sitting in front of you, we've got this backdrop, we're here.
In 2019, Yarde went to Russia. This time a Russian is coming to him. Standing in his way is Artur Beterbiev, the holder of not 1 but 3 world titles.
So you're up against someone who is a champion. They've been there, done that. How do you believe that you have the ability to beat him?
In this scenario, I'm going to put myself in that position where people are going to say, wow, this guy done it.
Outside of the ring, Yarde was proud to join Arsenal in Adidas's No More Red anti-knife crime campaign. The 31-year-old is passionate about playing his part to stop serious youth violence.
I understand people have anger, people have all these things, people want to do this get back thing, people want to... There's so much reasons of why they will think like it's acceptable, but there's never any reason for you to stab someone.
The subplot of the fight on Saturday is the friendship between Anthony Yarde, the boxer, and Tunde Ajayi, the coach. Together they were defeated in Russia, and people said that they should change, they should split apart, but they've stayed together, and on Saturday night they'll be trying to rewrite history.
his immediate family have always been there, and his family with us in the gym, myself, Ade, James Cook, Joel, Kadua. I think it's been instrumental because we gave him something to keep working towards. That's it. It has been an incredible journey.
Together, these two East London friends will be looking to upset the odds to write Anthony's name in history as the unified light heavyweight champion of the world. Anton Allen, ITV News.
It was a triumphant night for some of our women's football teams as they advanced into the semi-finals of the League Cup. Chelsea beat Tottenham Hotspur by 3-1 at Brisbane Road. Meanwhile, a late goal by West Ham captain Danny Brynjar-Stotter in Merseyside was enough to knock out Liverpool. Gareth Southgate has told ITV News that his family played a part in his decision to stay on as manager of the Three Lions. The former defender admitted he contemplated leaving the job after the World Cup due to the abuse he received, but now he's ready to have another crack at bringing home a trophy.
They left Doha saying, you know, you've got to give this one more go and try to get this trophy. I'm in a job with the chance to make some history, and I have a privilege of leading the national team. It's been an unbelievable experience. I think we've made progress with the team across the years we've been in charge. I think now we're in a different landscape to any previous England team, I guess, because of the success we've had.
The full interview is on the ITV Evening News at 6:30. Next tonight, an honour for the woman who endured years of abuse simply because she wanted to be a train.
She was, Duncan, a real pioneer, and the remarkable thing, it all happened relatively recently. We're on platform 3 of Euston Station right now, and this is the mural to Karen Harrison. As you can see, she became a train driver in 1979, and as it's written there, it was a big deal because before that, only men drove trains, and even after she qualified as a professional driver, she suffered a lot of discrimination. Here's a clip of her talking about that.
I wrote off to British Rail saying I'd like to become a train driver, and I didn't sign my name, I just put Kay Harrison. So they obviously thought that I was a young man. I was called to an interview, and it was not actually till I turned up for the interview that they got the shock of their lives and realised I was female. It was open warfare. People wouldn't work with me, people put notes up about me on the notice case, my locker was defaced. It's now put me in a position where when it happens to other women, I now know how to help them.
Well, this is all part of a recruitment drive to get more female train drivers. At the moment, only 1 in 10 are female train drivers. And I'm joined by Vicky Knight, who's a train driver in training. What do you think of the mural?
I think it's amazing. I think she's an amazing person and she's an inspiration to us all.
What's made you want to become a train driver?
I wanted to become a train driver because one of my friends actually told me that he thought I'd be good at it. And I was a hairdresser at the time, and I thought, well, why not? I'll look into it. So I did. And I looked into it and I thought, that's a job for me, and I applied for it.
And how long does it take to be a train driver?
Roughly between 18 months and 2 years. Yeah.
And what do you love about it?
Everything. I love being part of a team. I love being in the front cab, seeing the sunrise. I love just all the views that you get.
Thank you very much, Vicky. And when you're on the tracks?
Yeah.
When are you on the tracks?
Well, training, I'll be probably about 4 weeks' time.
Superb. That's all for us. The mural is on display until for a month.
Thank you very much, Rags. On to the weather now. Here's Sally.
ITV London weekday weather is sponsored by Octopus Electric Vehicles. Car, charger and energy.
Hello, a very good evening to you. Some beautiful daffodils to cheer things up. And I love this photo. I bet he's thinking, I don't want this apple. I wanted a pink lady. You can't blame him really, can you? But he did indeed eat it. Beggars can't be choosers. Now, weather is quite settled over the next few days. Pretty dry, maybe the odd shower around tonight. And although our temperature's just nudging up a tiny bit, it is still pretty cold outside. So let's take a look at the detail for you. A few showers coming in off the North Sea. Most areas dry, but where we have had a bit of dampness, there's just the risk of a touch of ice forming and a little bit of a patchy frost, but most places avoiding it. And you can see from our temperatures, a lot of areas staying up above freezing, maybe just a bit colder in the countryside. So it will again feel pretty chilly as we head into Friday, but a decent day on the cards in terms of staying dry. There's quite a lot of cloud once again, but we are hoping for a few more breaks in it, allowing a little bit more sunshine to come through. It's going to be similar temperature-wise, highs of 7 or 8 degrees, but just a bit less breezy tomorrow, so that'll help things a touch. Now, if you've got plans for Friday night, if you're heading out, should stay dry, but we've got light winds and clear spells and a widespread frost forming on Friday night, and with that, the risk of some freezing fog as well. So that can linger a bit on Saturday morning, although things should brighten up a touch, but then turning a bit cloudier later on. This is all at the moment. Things can change into Sunday, increasing amounts of cloud and perhaps turning a bit windier through the day. As I said, though, a settled outlook, pretty dry for the most part in the daytime, still quite chilly, although hopefully temperatures will come up a tiny bit. I'll see you later on.
ITV London Weekday Weather is sponsored by Octopus Electric Vehicles.
Finally, the last time The King and I was performed at the Palladium, it sold out and broke records with a live cinema showing. Now the Rodgers and Hammerstein musical is going on tour with performances in Wimbledon, High Wycombe and Southend. Sally's been getting to know one of its stars, called the midwife actress Helen George.
I whistle a happy tune, and every single time.
For many, the songs are pure nostalgia.
Convinces me that I'm not afraid.
But a whole new audience now has a chance to discover them. As The King and I is about to go on tour here with its new star, Helen George.
These are just the afterpains, Vanita.
You may recognise Helen from Call the Midwife, but for the next few months she'll swap delivering babies for delivering belters.
I feel like I need to start this interview, Helen, with getting to know. Yes, very good, very good, very nice.
I was hoping she might take over, but no such luck. It's hard not to sing these songs though when they're so good.
Getting to know you, getting to feel free and easy.
Oh, that's a few notches up on me. The role of Anna in The King and I, famously played by Deborah Kerr. Elaine Page has done it too.
Yeah, I was looking back at who's played the role of Anna.
Oh, stop.
But you're going to absolutely smash it.
Oh, that's the word.
Let's hope so. But they're big shoes to fill, you're right. You know, so I don't take that lightly. It's quite a responsibility.
But Helen George looks equally at home. As Anna, she has taken a job teaching the King of Siam, now known as Thailand's, family.
So it's a brilliant fight for her. And also this king's very passionate about educating women and children in a land where perhaps that wasn't a priority and which feels very current today as well. So it's multifaceted. It's pretty tight. I normally have to wear this with a corset, so
Oh my goodness, wow. The costume, of which this is just the undergarment, is a bit of a workout.
But everybody just has to give me a wide berth because I'm as big as a house.
Is it heavy?
It's £10. Yeah.
And wearing a corset. I mean, I wore one of those for my wedding. Never again. I had to take it off halfway through to eat my dinner.
Yeah. Yes.
Can you move in it?
No, not at all. Absolutely not. But you know, we'll struggle through. We'll make it work.
I suspect she'll glide through as she and the musical head off on tour both across the capital and country. And with iconic songs like Whistle a Happy Tune, it'll probably have you doing just that. Sally Williams, ITV News, London.
Always feel like Sally's angling for a part, don't you? Right, that's it. We're back with our late update tonight. Lucrezia is here next with the ITV Evening News. But from me and the rest of the London team, have a lovely evening. Goodbye.